God came to me and he said that I want you to be the voice for the people that have lost their lives to the fentanyl crisis. 300 people are dying every single day in the United States from fentanyl. They suffer with low self-esteem. They suffer with trauma from their childhood.
All you have to do is be willing to kind of peel back that onion.
When the pain of remaining the same outweighs the fear of change, then you will surely let go.
They don't know where to go, who to turn to, what to do, and we want to guide them with our expertise and the resources that we have.
If you do have a problem, that's okay. There's a solution, and you can do something about it. We all have adversity. We all have trials and tribulations. It's like, how do you move past that? How do you move forward?
We want to get behind these kids out there and these family members that are dying.
So I'm just going to get right into it.
Let's get it.
The Hopeaholics. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, that was a mission to get all three of you together into the studio.
It's Natalie's schedule. We blame her.
No,
it's okay.
You're busy. That's fine.
All good.
Yeah,
all good.
But we're here.
Yes, I know. All right, so I just want you guys we'll start with Chad. Just kind of introduce yourself and kind of like what you do, and a little bit about yourself.
All right, perfect. I'm Chad Carlson. I am the CEO of the Infinity Group. I'm also one of the hosts of the Hopeaholics podcast. Basically, I am an advocate for fentanyl awareness, mental health, and addiction. That is my mission in life.
And also operates treatment facilities for substance abuse and mental health, and has been in the business for 23 years.
He is so
I know
humble.
he's super humble, so I'm going to throw him up there. He's the big boss.
Thank you.
Big dog.
He's the big dog. So yeah, because he is humble pie, so I might as well, throw it in there a little bit of like, he's the big dog. So that's our CEO, Chad Carlson. But I'm Natalie Eva Marie. A lot of people probably know me from WWE, the reality show Total Divas, doing 6 seasons of that. And then I dabbled in TV and film. And then now God put me in the right place at the right time. And I walked into the Infinity HQ, met Chad and Shane with my husband. Originally was a guest on the show. And it just aligned with everything I've ever wanted to do personally. And, I say when God's timing happens, it just makes it click and all the things align. So now I'm also a host with the boys on the Hopeaholics, and I couldn't be more excited and partner with Infinity, and they're stuck with me. I mean, I always make a joke, but they get tired of me a little bit because
we're the three
I
amigos.
am chatty. Yeah, we're the three amigos.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm Shane Earn. I'm a Hopeaholic through and through. I'm a fire eater and a sword swallower. And I save souls. That's what I do. I love saving souls and human beings. I love the front line. That's me.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You know what I totally forgot to mention? Why it is so important to me is because I myself am an addict and alcoholic, and I celebrated 11 years of sobriety in March. Total Divas.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We got a live audience right
here.
And
on Total Divas season 1, that's when I became public with my sobriety, and kind of that's where I think the boys initially kind of found me, because I put it out there, like my journey. So
yeah,
that's a huge part of why it is so important to me to be amongst Chad and Shane on the Hopeaholics, but as well as partner with the Infinity Group as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was gonna be one of my questions for you, because I have like individual questions. But since you just brought it up, I mean, I'm so happy you opened up about that, about you, turning sober. So I don't know how deep you feel comfortable enough to go, but I think it's really incredibly important to talk about the details of what was that turning point, that transition for you, that you're like, you know what, I need to stop this and I need to be sober.
I think, for me, I mean, I'm an open book, so it's like there ain't no shame in my game.
Yeah.
And plus, I mean, coming from reality TV, you kind of have to go ahead and put it out there and be willing to be that kind of open book. And I feel like it's really important, especially because I did live in so much shame about having this addiction. But I think any addict or alcoholic comes to a point when sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that's when you're going to actually make the change. Doing something over and over again, expecting a different result, that's what they call insanity, right? And that's kind of like what I was continuously doing. And that's not how I was raised. My parents are my heroes, and I come from a really good family, but the addiction gene in my family is heavy. So, you know, women and the way that I was raised shouldn't be going to jails, getting multiple DUIs, and not living the life that I knew that I had the potential to live and fulfill. So I think I just finally came to that moment of clarity. And then my oldest brother kind of showed me the way of sobriety and kind of what that looks like, and going to Alcoholics Anonymous and getting a sponsor and working the program and working the 12 steps. And that's initially how that came about. And then, you know, I tripped and fell a couple times, but made my way back, thank God. And hopefully I don't have to experience another trip and fall. Hopefully hopefully I can stay the course on this one.
We don't want any of that. None of that.
Yeah.
Do you have fear that might happen?
I always have a healthy fear, because it's something that is always, when I didn't have that healthy fear, that's when I relapsed, because I thought I got this shit. I don't got shit. God has it in his hands, not me. When I'm running the show, we're running shit into the ground. Me behind the wheel, and I know Chad can, he's the same way. When we're behind the wheel, that ain't good. That's not good for not only ourselves, but for the people that love us the most around us, because we're just a tornado causing destruction.
Wow.
And that's not a life to live. You know, it's a very dark place. And that's why it's so important for me. And I'm so proud to be amongst the Hopeaholics, and happy, even though it started through a tragedy with Chad, and I'll let him kind of talk on that. But, you know, it's breaking the stigma. Like, there's no shame in having an issue. There's shame in not doing anything about it and playing a victim. It's like, I'm lucky because I don't have cancer. There's a choice and there's a solution to my problem. It's just I have to be willing to do the actionable steps, which sucks. But it's like, you got to look in the mirror and be like, no, boo-boo, this ain't working. You got to really dig deep and do some inner work and realize and work on your character defects. And then you can be a actual great partner, wife, business partner, friend, and not be such a selfish wreck.
Yeah, 100%. And let that be a lesson in itself. You just said it. Having faith in God, because it's not, if it's up to you, you'll fail.
Yes.
That's what we do. We are failures. We're human. We're not perfect, right? We're sinners. We're born sinners. We're going to die sinners. So to have him and put him number one, that should be the goal for everybody, really. Whatever it is that you're struggling and dealing with, right? So I know you pointed to Chad, because Chad, you have a huge, profound story and experience yourself that really was your turning point to kind of start like the Hopeaholics and all, even before that with the rehabs and things like that. Do you want to go ahead and share a bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I think for me, my first turning point was on December 14th of 2000, which came shortly after a car accident, the birth of my first child. I was in the midst of probably one of the worst meth addictions that I've ever seen, and I've worked in the industry for years and years. And the day she was born, I knew that God had left me here for two reasons. One, to be a father to that little girl, and two, to help other people that suffer with the same thing that I suffer from, which is this thing between my ears, you know, because it wants me dead. It tells me that I'm worthless, useless, all the negative stuff. And that's why I want to piggyback off of what Natalie said. It's like, you know, today, because I truly believe that addiction is a disease, and we get a daily reprieve based on our spiritual maintenance. So we can fast forward 22 years from that date, and I obeyed. I did what God asked. He asked me to help other people that suffer with the same thing that I suffer from. And, you know, fast forward 22 years, you have the Infinity Group, which owns 7 different brands of treatment centers, 250 beds here in Southern California. But then on September 11th of 2022, that same little girl that saved my life, I got a devastating phone call from her at 7:30 a.m. And, you know, I really remember this phone call and I will never forget it, because I looked down and saw my phone ringing. And I knew something was wrong, because she never calls me that early in the morning, because she's always sleeping. And I picked up the phone and she was screaming. And that type of scream that you know somebody is gone.
Yeah.
And the first thing she said to me is that Justin is dead. And yeah, and that day changed the whole trajectory of my entire family's life. And you know, it's coming up on 2 years, and she's still hurting. You know, she's still struggling with life. She's doing it. She's getting up every day and showing people that you can do it. But from that tragedy came, you know, something beautiful that I know that every single day he has his hand in. You know, Justin has his hand in everything we do, because the stuff that is happening in our lives, you know, isn't normal. The growth that we've had on the podcast isn't normal. And because of that, God came to me and he said that I want you to be the voice for the people that have lost their lives to the fentanyl crisis, and to offer hope to the families who are out there suffering, you know? And yeah, you know, it was like for Shane and I we started the podcast, and God was like, build a podcast, and we built a podcast. And it was, you know, I always relate it kind of like to Noah's Ark, right? He was like, build an ark, and people are like, you're crazy, you're dumb, what are you doing? And for me, it was like, it wasn't even people, it was myself. Like, you can't do this. You're not a public speaker. You don't even like talking. And I just kept doing it. And then the day came that we did the podcast, our first podcast. And we did it with my daughter. And it was a beautiful podcast. Of course, we made a rookie mistake and forgot to check the audio before we started.
No.
So the podcast will probably never be released. But from this, you know, the Hopeaholics, and then we had Natalie on as a guest, and we all just clicked. And you know, it's just been a God thing.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I talk about the most, and I think all of us can agree on that, is like, we put God first. And everything that we do, God is first.
Yep. And that's why he brought you guys together.
Yeah.
And
I know. I mean, if you really think about it, because we're now coming up on almost a year from the first time of me just being a guest on the show, was July 28th. And I kid you not, I know it sounds crazy, but like, it literally changed the trajectory of my career, my life, everything, because I moved with my husband from Orange County to Texas in 2021 when I went back to WWE for a run into SummerSlam. And after, you know, Shane was amazing in the sense I was traveling like crazy, and he was very sweet and amazing with the scheduling, and brought myself and my husband out here. And I really thought it was just going to be like another kind of interview, you know, another podcast, kind of in and out, and that was it. But it was, I walked into everything that I had actually written down 10 years ago on paper, and it was right in front of me. I dreamt, or I put down on paper, and I would talk to Jonathan about, I really hope that God can put a team, an executive team, in our lives that has everything that I envision for an executive team to have and facilitate, from their personal beliefs to the way that they operate with patient care to the way they run their facility. And then also, I'm sitting next to two amazing human beings, you know, and the rest of the team, I can say that as well. And then I met everybody, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. They hit it off with Jonathan, and then I always make the like joke where they fell in love with him, but they got stuck with me. And it just fell into place like butter. Like, and that's how I know it was meant to be, because usually when I'm trying to put a puzzle piece and it's like forcing something in there, it's like, nah, that's not how it's gonna work. It just effortlessly went like with ease. And so now I'm back in Orange County, and on that dream also was to have a treatment facility. And so the 7th brand underneath the Infinity Group is the first NEM recovery center in Laguna Beach, California.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's wild. The one thing that I used to be like ashamed of, I didn't want anybody to know, I wanted to be like hide and be secretive, is the one thing that I'm like, we talk about it every day. You know, we interview people, because I think the misconception is that no matter who you are, we all struggle with pain. We all have adversity. We all have trials and tribulations. It's like, how do you move past that? How do you move forward? And I'm so grateful, and I will forever continue Justin's legacy, because he brought me here. He brought me to this seat with these guys who I've known for only a short period of time, but I'm a ride or die for them, because it's so apparent on not only the fentanyl crisis of what's happening in this country with kids that are not addicts and not alcoholics, but also breaking the stigma for the younger generation to realize, like, if you do have a problem, that's okay. There's a solution, and you can do something about it. You know, so I'm very grateful for the opportunity, and I definitely don't take it lightly either, because it is, it's important, and it means not only something to myself and like my family, but to everybody, this entire team. You know, so that's why I feel like it's my duty to continue to honor Justin's legacy, because that's what brought me here.
Yep. Beautiful. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Shane, I want to hear from you.
Yes. Talk to me.
What about you? What's kind of your,
you know what, I've been doing this for 20 years, working with Chad now for about 7 years, and was just honored when he asked me to be his initial partner in this. We make a great team, and we make a great trio. We want to get behind these kids out there and these family members that are dying. They don't know where to go, who to turn to, what to do, and we want to guide them with our expertise and resources that we have, and we want to let them know that there's an opportunity out here beyond your wildest imagination. You don't have to live in that pain or in that sorrow. There are ways through.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what is kind of your back end story? Because they shared a little bit about their story and like what hit their turning point in their life.
I had a turning point. I was working for a family company for about 20 years, and I had a nervous breakdown. And I dabbled in alcohol and a little bit of crack cocaine. So that brought me out to California. I did a few years of recovery, and
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
And that was while you were in, because I know you had that pharmaceutical business with your family.
Yes, that was while I was working with the pharmaceutical company.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Is it because you had access?
No, just
it was just during that time.
Just during that time.
Got it. Okay.
Just
okay.
Too much time on my hands, Kayla.
Yeah, too much.
That's it, too much time on my hands.
I mean, that is such a good point, though, because I feel like that also is kind of overlooked, because I know for me personally, if I'm stuck with myself and I'm not doing anything that is of use, or where I'm just kind of sitting in being bored, or have nothing to do, or I have nothing that I'm looking forward to, that is not a good space for me. Like, I feel that's when the mental obsession and things start to get really dicey.
The illness comes out.
Yeah, for real. Like, I have to always be constantly like, regardless of what it is, it's like acts of service of some sort, or making sure that I'm like cognizant of that, because I feel like that's where you can go into a slippery slope.
Everybody.
Hence, look what happened to COVID. What do? You isolate a lot of people. You turn them from talking to one another or associating with one another. And then look at now, the mental health has increased like crazy, not only addiction as well, because you like all of a sudden you're stuck by yourself and you're all those crazy thoughts, when it's like you need to turn it into being able to self-soothe, and that's with God and meditation and prayer, but then also get out of yourself and help somebody else, because that's always going to fulfill you in a way that you think that it won't, but it will. One thing
and surround yourself with other good people like yourself, like-minded,
always
on the same trajectory.
They always say the little things of like who you surround yourself with is so important, of like where you want to go, or your goals, or what you want to do in your life. It couldn't be more true. Like, I remember hearing the stuff like that when I was really young, and I'm like, oh yeah. But it's apparent, because you push each other, you know. I mean, this entire executive team amongst the Infinity Group, everyone's a savage. Like, everyone's pushing each other to, whether it's being because we're very big on like mind, body, and soul. And so it's physical, because health is wealth. I really truly believe that. And that's what is encouraged a lot with like on our podcast also, because we all have to try to maintain it so that we can be the best that we possibly can be.
Say it. We take care of ourselves
We do.
in every fashion possible.
Yeah.
And you have to.
We
and,
have to.
And that's not selfish. It's
Right.
like it's a detriment to others and your partner and your business and your friends if you're not, because
Right.
at some point in time your cup is going to be empty, and that's when things hit the fan.
That's
and then
right.
you're in trouble.
Mm.
Yep.
And then you're looking for a drink or a drug or something, so because you want to shift, you want to move your like state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I wanted to, so I don't forget, because I am chatty natty and I get on these tangents. one of the other elements that was really important to me, and what I found, what sealed the deal, is when my husband and I came out for just coming on as a guest, we got to tour the treatment facilities. And I've been to treatment, like that's why it's kind of crazy. I went to treatment right before WWE, and then you never know what is on the other side of your pain, because within like 9 weeks I was on global TV on a reality show, and I found the man of my dreams. Like in 9 weeks, what the fuck? That's crazy. So, but I digress. Veterans are really, really important to me because my dad is one. He went to Vietnam. He's a Marine. And so I got to go to one of the veteran houses that the Infinity Group, and obviously Chad is the CEO of the Infinity Group and has been in the business for 23 years. So that was huge to me, because that's not talked about enough either, is that our veterans go over and they fight for us to sit on this couch, talk to you today, and have the freedom that we have in America. But then when they come back, you know, they deal with things that normal civilians would never even be able to relate to, because it's not normal. It's not normal life. They're seeing things that are very hard to internalize. So the fact that we also offer treatment for them as well was another huge thing for me, where it's just like one of those everything that I've always wanted aligned perfectly.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I literally just had a conversation with my son the other day, because we would see a lot of homeless people, and a lot of them were veterans.
A lot of them are veterans.
And I'm like, what happens? Because I don't come from, no one in my family is in the military, but I'm like, they should be taken care of for the rest of their lives. They gave up their lives for us. Like, what happens after they leave? They're not taken care of the way that they should.
No, and that's one of the things that with the podcast, besides the fentanyl and all the other things that we're fighting for veterans to have better health care, better housing situations.
Wow.
You know, it's actually really sad, because people who are addicted or people who have mental health issues, they typically have a short window when they pick up the phone, a very short window, and they're reaching out and they're crying for help. And it's really hard to make that phone call, especially for a veteran, because veterans are actually told in the military that to suck it up, you can handle this. You're a soldier, you know, and they forget that they're also humans, and that they hurt and they see things that we haven't even ever seen. But my point is with typical insurance in the typical situation, if somebody's reaching out and they're in pain, just your general population civilian, we can have them in treatment within 4 hours. Really, there's a window of less than 24 hours to get somebody who's reaching out for help before they do something devastating, such as picking up again, and then once they use, they're off and running again. With veterans in their healthcare system, it's horrible. And we actually have 3 contracts at 3 of our facilities with as community care providers. So I have to be kind of cautious what I say, but we fight for the veterans' rights. You know, we fight to get them into treatment. They should have better health care than I have. They should have better opportunities for housing than I have. And it's just not the case.
Wow.
We're all sitting here and being able to say whatever we want to say because they fight for our freedom.
Right. 100%.
So,
and this is Hope by the Sea.
Hope by the Sea, Serene Behavioral Health, and Palm Springs Behavioral Health.
Okay.
So we have 2 mental health primary facilities that you don't need a substance use disorder.
Yeah.
And then we have one. It's Hope by the Sea is a large facility, so we can house about 110 clients currently.
And this is the one in San Juan.
In San
correct?
Juan.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
100 and how many?
10.
10. That's right. Okay. I'm just curious. How full is it?
Full.
Wow.
We're at 99% capacity right now.
Wow.
We stay very full.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, if you guys are full at that capacity and there's more people, you guys make room? Like, how does that?
We figure it out.
Yeah, you guys figure it out.
With the 250 beds, we can almost
Mm-hmm.
always get somebody in. It's very rare that we can't get somebody in.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's really crazy is that, like, you know, we call ourselves the Three Amigos and we joke around, like, because I'm the youngest of all boys, so I get along with these guys so easy. And I'm sure I annoy the hell out of them too on some days. But on the podcast, we'll have, you know, fun, we joke, and then we have our serious moments as well. But what is so crazy too like, there's so many hats that are constantly moving. Shane talks to people that call in and need treatment the best I've ever seen. I have never seen someone, even though he's so, like, you know, funny and easygoing with us, the way and the empathy that he shows these, whether it's mothers or siblings or somebody that is calling for somebody else, or the individual that is actually reaching out for help. I have never seen something like that ever, especially from all ends of the spectrum, where you have your CEO, but also on a podcast, to running the facilities, to actually talking to people that are coming into treatment, is really kind of a beautiful thing, where it's all full circle, where it's not like everybody knows exactly kind of what is going on and how the puzzle pieces are, where they're moving and where they're shifting. So every day is crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Aw, Shane. You're just one big teddy bear.
He is. He really is. Like,
And, you know,
it's
people,
great.
I don't know if people would know that about him based off of, like, you know, seeing our social media and stuff like that. But yeah, as soon as the phone rings, and the thing is that currently the way it sits with the Hopeaholics, not with the Infinity Group, because we have a whole nother admissions team over there, but with all of the leads we get from the Hopeaholics, which is quite a bit every day. It's like over 30 every day. I'm answering the texts, and Shane is answering the actual phone calls that come in. And for right now, we really take pride in that, because we want them to know that they're actually talking to the Hopeaholics.
And your guys are being hands-on. Like,
Hands-on.
Yeah.
Hands-on.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people that are calling us, they don't have insurance, or they're on Medi-Cal or Medicaid or other things. And some of the stuff that we're doing today is educating them on, you can actually get insurance, and we can, you know, show you the process. We can't get them the insurance, but we can show them and educate people on the process of actually getting insurance and getting into treatment and getting their lives back.
Yeah.
And not worrying about government funding anymore, because they've become, one of the things in the 12-step program is we become self-supporting through our own contributions. Like, that's a big thing in being in recovery. We stop relying on other people or other entities to help us in life. We become self-supporting through our own contributions.
And you guys teach them.
And we teach that.
That's so important.
Yeah.
I know so many people, family members too, that rely so much on the government.
You get
they
stuck.
never learn. They get stuck
You get
because
stuck.
they don't learn how to be independent.
Yes, you get
and you want
stuck.
somebody else to handle and take care of you, or to handle kind of the mess that is going on. When that mess, you have the power to move and change.
Right.
So we empower people.
Yeah.
Is really is really what happens. I'm big on empowerment in every facet of it, because we are responsible for everything that happens in our life. We're not victims.
Yeah.
You know, we can get through anything.
Mental disorders is the all-time high.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not familiar with facilities and how that works. Do they have like therapists in there that help them through all of that? How does that look like?
So everybody that comes into treatment sees a board certified psychiatrist, addiction medicine doctor.
Okay. Okay.
These are MDs or DOs.
Okay.
We have physician assistants on staff, therapists, licensed master level therapists, and then drug and alcohol counselors.
Okay.
So everybody sees
Wow.
those every week, plus 6 to 8 hours of group therapy every day. So it's pretty intense.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know that either.
And then we step them down through the process.
Okay.
And so it starts at detox.
Okay.
We're licensed for detox, and they go from detox to residential, and then residential is you live in, and then after that they have partial hospitalization, which is actually an outpatient. Typically at that point they're living in a sober living home and coming to outpatient, and then we step them down to intensive outpatient, which will be 3 hours a day.
Okay.
And at that point, we're helping them find jobs and, becoming productive members in society, all of that good stuff.
For someone that is struggling with addiction or struggling with mental disorders or whatever it is, but they just don't have, they're too scared to check themselves in. They're too scared to come out and reach out for help. I would like to hear from each of you your advice on what could be the next step for them to kind of break through that and make that first step of reaching out, because ultimately the goal is to reach out, because you can't do it on your own, right?
Yeah.
But in the meantime, they are doing it on their own. So what would you say to that person that is struggling with the addictions, with the mental disorders on their own, and they are not able to reach out for help quite yet?
I mean, I just say reach out. Reach out. There's no shame in asking for help.
Yeah.
There is no shame at all in asking for help. The only shame is staying the same. We've all been there, all three of us. We suffer from depression, anxiety, other mental health issues, substance use disorder. I mean, I'm a full-blown horrible meth addict, and I've been stuck in that vicious cycle. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I should say fortunately for me, I was rescued by the Orange County Sheriff's Department. They put my disease to arrest, and I detoxed at the county jail. But at the same time, the other question that I have is, if you have a loved one that you see is hurting and they're afraid to ask for help, don't be afraid to ask for help for them, because we have other professionals. Pick up the phone, call professionals. My daughter struggled with stuff. I was already a professional. I had to pick up the phone because I still was making the wrong decisions, and ask other professionals for help. So don't be afraid to pick up the phone. There's interventionists that can help walk you through helping them get to a point where they are able to ask for help or become willing to ask for help. Shane has a lot of good stuff that he says on that part of it too, on the intervention. It's like, what boundaries are you willing to set? And if you are willing to set those boundaries with love, everything that we do at our facilities is always with love. Love comes first. And that's, the days of the old behavioral modification facilities, that doesn't work. We know that doesn't work. What we know works is meeting people right where they're at and showing them that, love is the answer, and that we can walk you to the other side. And the other thing that I tell people all the time on the podcast is it's easier to walk through pain, the pain that you're in, than to sit in it forever. It seems scary and it seems hard, but as soon as you start taking those steps, it just gets easier and easier, and the relief comes, just the relief from asking for help. I can't do it on my own. I don't know what to do anymore. I need help.
Wow.
And that's where it's at.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like that's the hard thing is for the loved ones of the addict or alcoholic or individual, because they go through a lot themselves with that person, and ultimately it really does come down to that individual having the willingness to do the work that is required, because the cliches are true. If you work at a program or walked into the rooms, it's a very simple program. It's an easy program. but it requires work. You know, I'm very grateful because, you know, I got to a point of desperation, and I couldn't. The way that I was living was to a point that it just brought me to my knees, and I'm like, I'm done. You got to surrender at some point, or else no one can do it for you. So that's why I feel for families and loved ones that have to walk through that, because it does come down to that person as well, because they have to obviously be willing to go to treatment in the first place. You can't really force somebody. You can try, and it just doesn't work out that way, you know. So my heart goes out for families and individuals that are dealing with that certain individual, but for the addict, for the alcoholic, or for anybody that is having that, you know, mental struggle, it really comes down to, what do you have to lose? You're miserable. You're in a place that you do not like yourself. You don't like your life. You don't like what you're doing. You're not the person that you think that you were supposed to be. What do you have to lose? Why? Because you're scared? Life is scary. Buckle up. Do you want to live, or do you want to die? Because that's where we're at, especially with the fentanyl, is like, the kids, you can't recreational use anymore. Like, the times of being able to like pop an ecstasy pill and have a good time on the weekends. There's a story that just happened. Another girl took I believe it was an Adderall, or no, she took a Percocet.
That story. Oh, I
there
saw
was another one that took an Adderall of her friends. It was her roommate, and she died. And it's like, the news isn't highlighting the fact that it's not like an addict or an alcoholic, like, oh, can't do drugs, shouldn't do drugs, another drug addict dead. No. This is your kid next door. It's knocking on your front door, and if you don't wake up, then you know, it's going to be a very, very sad day, because it's causing massive destruction, in the sense of, obviously someone's losing their life, but look, I see individuals in the sense of, like, he has to his daughter, you know, she has to live with that for the rest of her life, right? And she's gonna get through it, because she has a very great role model in her father to push her through. However, what if she didn't have Chad? And then you have Justin's parents. So it's like, you see the effects of what is happening, and these aren't happening to people that just can chalk it up like it's the addict, you know, it's the poor kid. It's like, no, it's these kids that have no idea. They think they're taking something that is not fentanyl, and then it is laced with it, and then it's poisoned, and then they're not, you know, they don't wake up. So that's how scary this is, because it's happening more and more, and it's frightening. So it's for those individuals that have a problem and don't like where they're at. Honestly, the best thing I ever did was seek treatment, because today I like who I am. I couldn't say that. I like who I look at in the mirror. Some days are harder than others, but I was given the tools to be able to work through whatever it is that I'm going through in my life, and I try to live by those principles, you know. And that is someone that is, I'm a whole nother person. I don't know the individual that was before I went into treatment and got sober. So it's like, you have a life that is waiting for you to step in and to tap into your full potential and live a life beyond your wildest dreams. And trust me, it works, because I mean, I'm sitting next to testimonies that it's proven. I mean, we shouldn't be here on this couch, all three of us, because we put ourselves in terrible situations. So it's just one of those things. You got to step through the fear.
Yeah, absolutely. Shane?
What was the question again?
It's okay.
I'm joking. Listen, this is not easy, Kayla. This is laziness runs rampant in this country. People are just generally lazy. They go to work, they come home, they don't do much. They don't want to exercise, they want to eat. This takes a little bit of self-control. It takes someone to kick them and push them into recovery. So never give up on your loved ones. I always say, if you need them to live in your home, that's fine. Whatever you could do, God forbid, worst case scenario, that's death. So just imagine they're going to die. What can you live with? God forbid they die. Can you live with putting them on the street? Can you live with keeping them in your home? That's different for everybody. So I tell the parent, just do what's in your heart. There's no really right or wrong here. We don't know what works initially to get them in. We know what it takes once you make that decision to come in. And it's not easy. but it's very possible. Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically choose your hard. It's hard either
It
way.
is.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah, choose your hard.
Yeah.
And I think
For sure.
every individual, I feel like, kind of says the same thing. They come to a point in their life where they're tired of running this game. They're desperate. They're tired of being sick and tired, and then that's when they move.
And their misery is easily refundable.
Yeah, and my all-time favorite saying for this specific thing is, when the pain of remaining the same outweighs the fear of change,
Yeah.
then you will surely let go. You'll surely ask for help.
For sure.
Wow.
Just grab that bad boy Shane out of your pocket and, hit the off button, and it'll stop
Can
doing
we
that.
mark that, please? That was very powerful. Yeah. They're dropping all sorts of bombs. We're gonna need 3 more than 3 reels. Just kidding.
That's what we do. We drop bombs.
Yeah, that's all you guys
That's
do.
all we
I
do
love
all
it.
day is
I don't even have to
we
talk
talk
today.
this stuff all day
All
long.
day.
That's what we do, and it's right here in our brains all the time. And
Yeah.
I mean, our whole mission, our mission in life is to help other people that are suffering. And I never really, when I say on the podcast that, God left me here to help other people that suffer with the same thing that I suffer from, it's not addiction. I don't suffer from addiction. Addiction just happened to be one of the symptoms of what I suffer from. Many people out there suffer from the same thing that I suffer from, who have never picked up a drink or a drug.
So
ever.
true.
Wow.
They suffer with low self-esteem. They suffer with trauma from their childhood. They suffer from
So
just-
addiction is not the suffering.
no.
It's
It's a
That's
symptom.
a symptom.
We use
didn't know
because we
that.
can't handle the pain of life.
And trying to change your state of
Mhm.
like whatever that may be, change where you're at, that feeling, wanting to numb something, or just not be in your head thinking.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, hold on. I feel like we need to unpack that a little bit because I'm just thinking of my son. Something tragic happened a couple days ago. Not with him, he's fine, but I can't say too much on. I'm not gonna say anything. But let's just put it this way: it's the younger generation, and addiction is like the problem. It's the problem. But if you guys, the way that you just explained it, so addiction is not, it's just a symptom.
Yeah.
Can you explain that? Because I want everyone to watch this and hear this.
I mean, for me and what we talk about, since the beginning of my days in this is that addiction is just the symptom of an underlying root trauma. It's usually trauma. It can be other things, but a lot of it stems from trauma, and we use to cope with that trauma because we don't like the way we feel inside. Like for me, my trauma came when I was like 8 years old. I was molested, and that really kind of messed with my head for a long, long time. But I didn't know that that it messed with my head. I didn't know that was my trauma.
How did you figure that out?
Well, I had already gotten clean, and I was clean for probably 8 years. And all of a sudden one day I just blurted it out in the office that had happened to me. I had held it in for 20 years, probably.
Wow.
And my mom looked at me and she was like, "What did you just say?" And to be honest with you, it sent me on another, because I did not work on my trauma. It sent me on, as an owner of treatment centers, I relapsed, and I went out on another, about a 5-year run where I was in and out and struggling, and I couldn't really get a grasp on why I was struggling. But it wasn't until finally I got rescued again by the Orange County Sheriff's Department and forced into rehab. And I finally found the therapist that I was able to do the deep seated work that I needed to do to get me past that. So it's always something. It doesn't have to be that type of trauma,
Right.
but everybody has something in their past that has caused them to self-medicate. So really, addiction is just self-medication. The problem is not everybody has that unstop mechanism, like
allergy.
the allergy. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
That
What do you mean allergy?
So it's like, so alcoholics or addicts, you know, it's like a mental obsession, but it's a physical allergy. So like not everybody has that. Like once I pop anything, doesn't matter whether it's alcohol or a certain drug. Like I don't know when to stop because the consumption is never enough. I'm always like chasing more. And so people that are not like that, they won't have the effects of like substance abuse issues. However, you know, I feel like Tony Robbins says it a lot when he does his like talks. It's like humans want to change their state. It's really your state of mind. It's like how you're feeling. So like addicts or alcoholics or myself, it's like, you don't like what's happening inside of here. So let me switch that out. I don't like this. And so like for Chad, he had to realize later on that he had to do some inner work for this trauma that he had to deal with as a child, right? Because as a kid, you don't have direct control over things that sometimes happen. But as an adult, you do. So he had to come to a point where then he had to work through that. For me, I didn't have a child type trauma. For me was like, I didn't like who I had a lot of insecurities. I was like not comfortable with myself. That's really where it kind of ended up spiraling, is because of putting my self-identity into being a soccer player. And then once that's removed, then I'm stuck with me and I don't know what to do with that. And I didn't like it. And so it's like you're chasing something to escape.
Oh, this is heavy. This is heavy because I'm just thinking about a few people that I'm close to.
But the beautiful thing though
is there's a
is
solution.
Yeah.
There's a solution.
And that's the thing, is like, that's what it's always like. It feels dark, right? But it's not, because you have control over this issue in your hands. All you have to do is be willing to kind of peel back that onion, and it hurts because sometimes you're going to find things, whether it's your doing or not, but you have to address them so that you can be well. It's not about thinking that this is going to fill my void, whether it's job, success, money, partner. It's like people are searching for peace of mind with themselves, because I'm stuck with me 24/7. If I do not like who I am, that's going to be a problem. And that's when you start searching and seeking other things to fill that. And so it's like, you know, that unpacking through the work that you do in treatment centers with your doctors and groups and stuff, that's teaching you and opening up certain things that you didn't maybe realize were affecting you, whether it's with your substance abuse or just your mental disorder that is happening. And then you're given tools to navigate that and work through that. And once you work through that, I mean, it's not like you have to revisit that ever again. It's like you finally seek that, you work through it, and then it's like, cool, done. You know, it's the character defects of you now, meaning like this being selfish, self-centered, certain things like that you have to constantly make sure that you're keeping at bay. But that's the beautiful thing, is that no one's hopeless. Like, that's what's awesome, is that we provide hope, because there's a solution to the pain and misery that you might be feeling at this moment. And it's really just being willing to actually put yourself first and take the leap of faith and know that you can get better, and where you're at right now is going to change. And that life is waiting for you to step into.
I want to bring awareness to, going back just a little bit, because you said a lot of substances are now laced with fentanyl, right? Can we, while I also call my son an Uber, yeah, he just texted me, I saw it. Can we unpack what is today being, I hear even weeds being laced with fentanyl.
So, I want to kind of clarify even what Natalie said, because she said laced, but now weed is being laced with fentanyl. Pills that you buy off the street are not laced. They are fentanyl and precursors, or filler. Not precursors.
And
filler.
they look exactly like.
So it'll look exactly like an Adderall.
Or
there is no amphetamine in that pill. It is all filler and then a tiny, tiny bit of fentanyl. Those are all being made in Mexico, and they're actually made. They look better than the actual pills.
We had Sheriff Barnes from the Orange County Sheriff on our podcast, and that's when he opened my eyes in the sense of I didn't realize that they are getting pressed and made to look better than the actual real pill of whatever it is, that whether it's an Adderall, Percocet, Oxy, whatever it is that you think that you possibly are taking, or ecstasy pill. It's pressed better than the real pill. And that's what's scary.
And the other part about it is that, so there's, everybody's trying to find a Band-Aid solution to stop people from dying, because currently 300 people are dying every single day in the United States from fentanyl. 300 people are dying every single day. I just want to relate that to people so they understand that's an airplane, a large jumbo jet crashing every single day, and really nothing is being done about it. So there are like test strips where people can test the pill. The problem is that it's a grain of salt is how much fentanyl is in a pill. That's all it takes. So if you have a sugar packet full of pure fentanyl, a sugar packet, just a little tiny sugar packet, that is enough fentanyl to kill 500 people. So that I want people to also understand how little tiny minuscule amount it is to kill somebody. And if they put a half a grain in this pill, but accidentally put a grain and a half in this next pill, everybody will die from pill number 2. Some people will die from pill number 1. And the other part is like, it's not addicts that are dying. It's mostly recreational users or people that are trying drugs for the very first time. It's a lot different than when I was a kid. When I was a kid, heroin was the scary drug. Heroin was the drug that caused death. So the difference between heroin and fentanyl is 10 times more powerful than heroin. But it's packaged in a cute little pill that you can just pop in your mouth. Some of them are blue, some of them are pink, some of them are yellow, some are white. You guys may have heard like rainbow fentanyl. That's rainbow fentanyl. They're cute little pills that anybody can take, and it's not scary to take a pill. When I was a kid and it was black tar heroin, I'm not. That stuff looks scary. It literally looks like black tar. And the only way you can use it is smoking it on tin foil or sticking it in a syringe, heating it up, and shooting it in your veins. Jeez. And this is a drug that is 10 times more powerful than that drug.
Tiny and easy and pretty, probably.
Pretty.
Wow.
I've seen it. We confiscate fentanyl every day, and I've seen it made to look exactly like rock candy. The rock candy that comes on a stick, that stuff that's pure sugar.
Yeah.
No.
It looked exactly like that minus the stick. Exactly like that.
Oh,
and that's what's scary. I think it was I think Jonathan sent me and Emily a latest article. It's really sad because this girl that just died is not a person that is like a frequent drug user. It's like, college kid taking she thought she was taking a Percocet just because, in your early 20s is when you're like, experimenting on certain things, and kids are going to be kids. And unfortunately for her, it was fentanyl.
okay.
Yeah, my son-in-law died from one pressed Percocet. It was a pill that looked like a Percocet pill, and he took the pill, and that was it.
Jeez, it's so scary. Just my son, as you guys.
How old is he?
17, and he doesn't anymore, but he was struggling a little bit, smoking weed, and then he was getting vapes from his friends, and I'm like scared because they could be laced, right?
Yeah.
So, and I had explain to him and break it down, I actually was unaware until I saw your guys' podcast and I saw the videos that you guys were posting, and I would send it to him and his friends. I would send him your guys' episodes. I'm like, watch this, listen to this. You just never know. And I had to keep cool and keep calm. Thankfully, he finally decided to stop. And he, you know, but it's the fact that like you would think something like weed is like not as big of a deal, but it sure can be, because you just never know nowadays.
You don't.
Well,
anything that you buy off the street.
And that's the battle. What does she do? You're a 17-year-old kid. You're smoking a little bit of weed. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it indifferent? You know what I mean? Every parent is different. What do? Do you let the kid smoke? Do you come down on him? Or do you go get him weed from the dispensary where you know it's clean? I mean, these are tough parenting decisions nowadays.
Yeah,
they are tough.
Yeah, they are.
I almost thought about doing that. I'm like, I'd rather you just let me get it for you than you just take it from someone that you even know where they got it
Bingo.
from.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because Shane, I believe, has a relative up in Canada that somebody died from marijuana off the street. It was laced.
Off the street,
Isn't that insane?
Now, I want to be clear, because like the marijuana people do get upset with us sometimes, because which is fine. I don't really care.
Upset
because
for what? Telling the truth?
I want people to be aware of what they're doing. And now, fentanyl. When we're talking about fentanyl, I want two things. One, we're always talking about illicit fentanyl. We're not talking about fentanyl that you get after a surgery or from the hospital or from a doctor. Not the same fentanyl. When we say fentanyl, we're always talking illicit fentanyl. And when we're talking about weed being laced, we're always talking about weed being bought off the street illegally.
Yeah, that's correct.
If you go to a dispensary, your weed is not going to be laced with fentanyl.
I see what you're saying.
Those guys get mad at us.
Oh, those guys got
Just to clarify, it's not.
So good question. That's a really good question.
So
Ask that question.
The question was, are they trying to kill people, basically?
No, they're not trying to kill people. It's just that fentanyl is so powerful and so addictive, and so many people are getting addicted to it in such a fast rate that the cartels are okay with the collateral damage, because they're still making truckloads, boatloads of money at an alarming rate. So the casualties, they're okay with. So are they trying? No. I asked Sheriff Barnes, I was like, this doesn't sound like a good business plan, to be killing 300 people every single day.
Right.
Because you're killing off customers. Well, they're gaining more than 300 new customers every day. So, let's say they're gaining 1,000 customers every day, but they lose 300. They're still winning.
Yeah, so here's the thing. If they smoke it in the weed and they feel different, that's an escape. And I just want to make this clear. At the beginning, when you take a drug, your life feels better. You do feel on a plateau mentally. It's going to die out eventually, but you do feel pleasure. You feel sedated, you feel relaxed, you feel the edges off, you feel no worries in your life anymore. That's the problem. So they take that weed and they come back to the guy. They go, whoa, that was incredible. And what was in there? What was that? Oh, it was this. Okay, that's fine. Let's give me some more. Because I like that feeling.
Yeah. I mean, that is a good statement there, Shane, because like I got addicted to crystal meth when I was 13 years old. 13.
Yeah.
I looked at my kids when they were 13 and I was like, oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
I was a baby.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I did it, because I was like a chubby kid and I had all these just, issues, self-esteem, everything. I remember doing it for the first time I snorted the line, and exactly what Shane said. I was like, I felt like I could conquer the world. I felt like I could study. I could do my homework. I had energy. I didn't want to eat. I liked weed, but weed always gave me the munchies, and I didn't have a good metabolism. So I would be, in the cabinets eating Doritos and Mama Celeste pizzas and stuff like that, and just getting chubbier and chubbier. And then I found crystal meth. Back in the day, they called it speed. So it didn't sound as crazy as it is now.
Yeah.
but that is the truth. And my life progressively got worse and worse and worse until I ended up getting arrested and, you know, in and out of jail for.
Which are not normal behaviors.
No.
So it's like, those are the types of stuff where it's like, they should be eye-opening. If you're getting incarcerated, if you're going to jail multiple times, if you're getting multiple DUIs, if you're getting arrested to any degree, those are little signs to maybe I have a problem. Maybe I really need to do something about this. And whether it's seek help or treatment, whatever that may be, but it's time to pay attention to what's going on, because those are not normal behaviors to be happening to an individual. They're not, you know? It's just.
I'm with you. And here's the thing. Life is never going to feel like that when you're not using a drug at the beginning, unless you have God in your life. That's really the bottom line.
Yep.
That's the truth. You
That's
cannot fill that
the
space up without God.
Yep.
So you're not going to be elated like that or have that peace without that spirit. It's impossible.
Right.
That's just the fact. For me, anyways.
No, it is.
No, that's
I
the
agree
common
across the
denominator.
board. You look at people that are, you know, doing the deal. You know, we've been trying to shove, the whole world does it. That's not just addicts. Everybody's trying to shove stuff into a God-sized hole that they have, whether it's, you know, cars, houses, partners, shopping, what else?
All of it. Food.
We do it with food. Normal vacations.
Like, you name it.
When you say try to fit in God-sized hole, what does that mean?
Trying to fill that void.
Oh,
because
fill
they
the
don't
void.
have God,
Got it.
you know?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with having those things, having money, having a nice lifestyle, having that. But
if it
before I
becomes
before I get all of that stuff, for me nowadays,
yeah,
I want inner peace first.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, because then I'm not trying to shove, you know, another
Drugs.
woman in my life or drugs in my
It's
life,
not gonna
or
fulfill it.
It
It's gonna be
doesn't-
on to the next.
No, it's on to the next.
It's not what you're looking for. You think it is, but it's not. And then you're maybe happy for a second, just like a drug. And it's like, yay, for a minute, and then it's on to the next. It's just, it's a never ending cycle. So until you get right with yourself and with God, then you'll be searching forever.
And we're not boring people. Like, we're not boring.
You guys, of course not.
Like, quite the opposite. I mean, if you look at my life, I might be boring because, yes, I'm old now and I go to bed at like 8, but I'm up at 3 a.m. in the morning, you know, getting it done.
Right.
But
Before
life is
normal
fulfilling.
people,
Like,
it is
we do
Yeah.
so
bullshit.
fulfilled.
Yeah.
Like, and that's also a main thing, is like breaking this narrative of thinking like, if I don't drink, or if I'm not that individual out at dinner or out at the club, I'm gonna be this like boring individual. It's like that actually isn't even.
It's not even
it's
really
further
that
from the truth.
cool.
Yeah.
Because how cool was it? Like for you know, especially for Shane and I, you know, next thing we know, you know, we have the Hopeaholics. The next thing we know, we're on the pits of the Daytona 500. Sitting there watching I'm in distance of you and the guy that's about to go change the tire on the car that's pulling up to the pit. I mean, that kind of stuff is amazing to me.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't get to do any of that kind of stuff if I was drinking and using
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, you wouldn't be invited.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
that's what
I
happens.
would not be invited.
It's like, I'm not.
They don't
Please do
want
not bring
Chad.
Chad, because he's either gonna be a mess or he's stealing my shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's where we're
one
at.
of the three.
Like, it's, you want to be the individual, especially a female.
Yeah.
It's like, it is not cute. It's not cute to be intoxicated and that girl. It's not. It's like, for it's much more, I feel, if you're able to have a conversation with individuals and show up as yourself, and then you get to go back home and you remember your conversations and you're good with how everything went down, that's where it's at. Not where you're having to pick up your phone and be like, what'd I say? Who did I call?
Oh boy.
Oh
What
my gosh,
happened?
why are you looking at me like that?
Like, those aren't things that are
You done
great.
that before?
No. This actually, because I haven't gone out in a long time. This past weekend I went out with the girls.
Nice.
But I didn't drink at all.
Oh.
And so, you know, but I stayed out until they were done, which was very late. And so I just remember thinking, like, the next morning I woke up perfectly fine. I'm up, doing my thing. And I remember thinking, I'm like, dang, like just looking at my girls, listening to them, not to put them on blast, but like they were slurring their words. They were just kind of all over the place. The guys that they were talking to was not cute. And I'm just like, dang, like that's just, it's a different perspective when you're out. Because I haven't really gone out recently. Number one. Number two, not sober with them. So I was just like, wow, that's how we act.
Well, I know, and I want to make sure that I make a point that like I'm saying that as somebody that was that girl. I was definitely, there have been many occasions of like me not being a good look and not losing my I relapsed with my husband, so it's like, and I had the extensions falling out of my hair. Like not it. Shut up. So you know what I'm saying? So it's like I say that not in a judgmental way. I say that because I've been that individual and I've been that person, and I know how that feels, and it's not a good feeling. And it's like the whole reason you're wanting to like drink or use a substance is to be, whether it's more social or to escape whatever is going on with yourself. But then you're dealing with so much of that negative effect the following day, because now you're depressed because you acted like a fool. You know, it's like a vicious cycle. And
it's that vulnerability hangover that's like even worse sometimes.
It's worse than the real hangover. You know, you're like, oh man,
I've had that happen. I'm like, oh my
terrible.
And then you take a look. Somebody took a picture of the dudes you were trying to talk to, and you're like, whoa, those guys weren't handsome. They looked handsome when I had my glasses on, my beer goggles on.
My beer goggles.
I love being sober though, because it's for, you know, Natalie and I truly say all the time that it's our superpower, because we get to get up every single morning without a hangover. You know, so we're already a step ahead of most people.
Right.
And it's such a blessing. And you know, I'm never like, I'm not like looking forward to like, oh, it's Friday night. I'm like, cool, it's Friday night. It's just a regular night for me. And, you know, for me, what's more exciting is continuing to become more and more successful. And showing people that you can come from the bottom of the pits of hell to living a life far beyond what you ever expected to live.
Amen to that. And trip and fall amongst the way, and still still pick yourself up and dust yourself off, and you keep pushing. It's like there is no, and I can say it, I think for all three of us, like there's no quit in us. You can't beat somebody that doesn't quit. Like it's okay, maybe you got me this round, but I'm coming back. Like I'm never giving up. And that's like, you have to make sure that, and trust me, and we talk about it too on the podcast, like there's going to be good days and there's going to be bad days. Just because right now, you know, it's beautiful. We're out here in Newport. We're with you, and we're able to talk about our message of like from the treatment facilities to the podcast. But it's like we all go through those days because life happens on life terms. You know, we all have families, we all have marriages, and things are happening within your family that you cannot control. So sometimes, you know, you're having a shitty day, and that's okay. But you keep it pushing. And that's really the kind of constant mentality, is being able to push on.
And we're willing to show our unglamorous life because we want to show our struggles
for sure
as well. And that's one of the reasons why we do a weekly wins on Wednesday, because a lot of time our wins are actually how we get through our losses. You know, I must have had such a bad day yesterday. I don't really remember at this point, but I didn't even remember being at work yesterday. We were out there. I was like, I didn't see you yesterday.
And I had multiple meetings in his office with Shane. I'm like, I'm glad that you knew that we were there.
Stress level 12 yesterday for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so I thought today was Monday.
Oh,
so
I've had those days.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of great though when you find out that it's Tuesday. You're like, amazing. Yeah. It's worse when you think it's Thursday and it's actually Wednesday, and you're like, oh, that's true.
That is true.
That's not good. Hump day is always good though.
Yeah.
Every day's good, bro.
Every
day is a good day.
Every day is good.
I love that. So we are going to start wrapping it up.
Awesome.
If you guys, for each of you, if there's like one last message, obviously based on the incredible episode that we had today, if there's one last message that you would give, really that the world needs to hear, if you could share that, would be great.
Go ahead, Shane. You're up, buddy.
So what I'm going to say is this: give me 60 days. Give anybody 60 days. Put your faith in another human being for 60 days unconditionally. Someone that has no bearing on whether your life makes it or not. Give them all your decision making. Let them control your life for 60 days. Miracles will happen.
Wow. Okay.
I think for me, it's just if I could be a glimmer of hope to somebody that is in a point in their life at this very moment where they feel stuck, where they feel lost, where they're in pain, where they're in depression, where they're having substance abuse problems, where they're picking up alcohol and having multiple issues with that, and at a point where they don't want to continue on, I want to be a voice for them and let them know that you can reach out, you are strong enough. There is a solution to what you're going through. I've been right there in the depths of hell and have been able to push out of that. And as much as it sucks at this current moment in your life and you think there is no way out, there really is. And to give yourself that chance, kind of piggybacking on Shane, give yourself that chance to seek treatment, reach out, and go all in. What do you have to lose? You already don't feel well where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
And then your life will turn into something that you didn't ever think that it was going to even. It would be, write it down in a journal and it's going to be bigger than that.
Beautiful.
For me, I truly, truly, truly want people to never have to go through what my family has gone through. I never want people, I don't want to ever get another phone call. I know this, reality right now is, it's not the case, but, you know, we are on a mission. I'm on a mission to eradicate fentanyl. I won't be satisfied until fentanyl is gone. Illicit fentanyl is no longer exists in the United States. I'm on a mission to break the stigma behind mental health and addiction. I want everybody to know that hope is still alive, that help is available, and all you have to do is just reach out, pick up that 10,000-pound cell phone that you have in your back pocket or sitting next to you, and just reach out. You know, there are people that will help you. There is a solution, just like Natalie said. There is a solution, and you do not have to stay the same.
One last question. Well, two more technically, but one more I ask all my guests on the show. In your definition, what does pain to power mean to you? I'll start with Shane.
Pain to power. Pain to power. That's nice. I really like that a lot. So pain to power is just a matter of getting a hold of your life and feeling somewhat, I'm not going to say in control, but say walking with God. I think finding your purpose through that pain, that's where the powers lays. Thank you.
There it is.
Oh my God, I love pain to power because I feel like you can't experience any power or any joy without the pain, you know? So you need that. I'm very grateful for all of my dark moments because I wouldn't be able to speak on it. My time in jail, the times of me being in misery, thinking like, this is not who my parents raised me to be. What is happening in my life? Now I'm a motherfucking savage. I show up for myself. That's because I'm powerful. It's my superpower because I've taken that pain. I know I can overcome anything because I rely and show up for myself and I have God as my higher power. And with God, who's going to check me, boo? No one.
That's right. That's right.
So that's where it's like, it's instilled so much self-confidence within me, all of that pain, all of that misery, because you had to be like a little butterfly and work and grow. And then you get to the power. And now I'm living in it.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Talk
I mean,
that, boy.
I'm not even gonna try. I'm just gonna say ditto to everything she said. Plus, like for real though, I have walked through pain, and God put me all this pain in my life because He knew that I would use it as my power, you know, and we use it to help other people. So taking your pain and getting out, using that, letting other people know that you know how they feel. Because that's the one thing that connects all of us.
Yep.
Every
right.
single person in this world is everybody knows what it feels like to hurt inside.
That's right.
And if we can take the pain that we've walked through to show another human being that they too can walk through that pain and get to the other side, then we're doing our job.
Absolutely.
And that's what it means to me. It's pretty freaking good right there too.
Not bad.
Yeah, I just had God talk through me. So
All right, you guys. All right, what is the future for, I know, Hopeaholics with your centers and your movement, because that's really what you guys are doing. You can either speak as individuals and as a whole, whatever you guys think. But what's the future with you guys?
the future for us is that we first off, they woke up a beast when they messed with my family. They woke up a beast that has zero quit inside of him.
Wow.
And our mission is we will not stop doing what we are doing and speaking the way we are speaking until 300 million people have heard our voice, or whatever the population of the United States is, that everybody knows that the stigma behind mental health and addiction has been broken, and that everybody knows that help is available and hope is still alive. And that basically means we will always be doing what we're doing until we die.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, ditto on that. I mean, I see us global domination.
I was just thinking the same thing.
you know,
I'm like,
it's-
U.S. No, this is global. You guys are worldwide.
I see us going, and not only because I think the message is so powerful, and it's, the boys have heard me say this a lot. I've done really amazing things in my life where I'm proud of, in sense of like from where I come from to where I put myself to then where I am today. I've never been more proud in what I'm doing right now because it's so much bigger than me. And even though, and this is something that for people that are listening, let me check this story in the sense of pain to power. You have a girl that never knew how to wrestle in her life. That wasn't my sport. I played soccer. That was the dream, to be a professional soccer player. Tore my ligaments. That dream shattered. All of a sudden, I go to treatment because I don't know what to do with myself. I'm a mess. And I'm in my addiction hard. I end up going to treatment. I get out of treatment. I end up going on an audition, just a cattle call. It's WWE. I walk in that. I'm sober, obviously. I got out of treatment. And all of a sudden, on the other side of that opportunity was WWE superstar, immediately onto the main roster, Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, because of, at that time, they were just decided to do this so-called reality show, and they were moving really quickly on it and wanted to go with it quick and just take somebody that never knew how to wrestle and put them on the show. So there I was. If I wasn't sober, if I didn't take that chance on myself, I would have missed that opportunity, and who knows where I would be.
Wow.
And then on top of that, God gave me a very large platform with a reality show and with WWE. And now the one thing that I used to be so embarrassed and ashamed of, and it took me a while to even maintain my sobriety because of the hiccups and me thinking I could run the show. Now I'm on a platform that's all I do is speak about it.
Wow.
So if that's not pain to power, I don't know what is. I mean, if you would have asked me this 11 years ago, hey, so in about 11 years, you're going to be meeting these two guys that are both bald that look kind of like your husband. And you're going to own a treatment center. You're going to move back to Orange County. And then you're going to basically utilize your platform because of WWE and Total Divas. And then you're just going to talk about sobriety and mental health. Okay? I would be like, one, yeah, right. And two, that sounds miserable. And then fast forward 11 years later, here I am. And this is what sets my soul on fire. This is what lights me up. Because if we can save one life, that's what it's all about. Because this right here saved mine.
Saving lives.
And that's what I think is so powerful behind everything that we do at the Hopeaholics. And what I see future-wise is continuing the message, continuing the narrative and making it really easy for people to be like, damn, I can reach out. There is a solution. I can go to treatment. I can do this. These guys that are literally Joe Schmoes, we're all doing it. You know, we are super vulnerable. So I want to just, I see us going to schools. I see us talking to kids. I see us, knowledge is power. I see us going to stadiums, and sobriety is cool. Like, you don't have to, being okay with yourself is okay.
Yeah.
You just have to know how to navigate and use those tools.
It is becoming more of a thing. I've noticed more and more people are becoming sober.
It's pretty freaking cool, actually. Sober is the new cool.
Yeah.
So,
beautiful.
long-winded answer because I am chatting Natty.
Yes.
My name. And the boys deal with me.
Yes.
But, you know.
Wow, do we deal with you?
But it's a story and it's
Wow.
crazy. Like,
No,
if
it's
you really
great.
take a seat back and you like really like look at it in a, like, you know, with
And
everything
here
going
we go
on.
again.
I'm just saying
I'm
it
just
is
saying.
crazy.
I'm just saying.
Hater.
I'm a lover.
I know.
I'm a lover.
I know.
Shane, do you want to add anything
God,
to that?
God knows. That's it. We don't
God
know.
knows.
I don't know. God knows.
God
There's
knows.
it's huge. Whatever it is, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Absolutely. 100%. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming in today. I mean, this was an incredible episode, so full of knowledge that people just, more people do need to talk about, bring awareness. And it was a little bit more serious than I usually have on my show, but it's the truth. It's reality, you know, that this is what we are facing, our future, our kids, and even adults, you know, and it's just, anyways, I really appreciate you guys. Where is the best way to connect with you? I know you have the Hopeaholics.com.
We have the Hopeaholics.com. You can find us on Instagram at the Hopeaholics, YouTube, and Spotify.
Yep.
We answer every single DM that comes through our DMs, and because people are looking for help.
Yeah.
So we answer everything all the time.
Yep. And then, of course, you guys, I'll go ahead and tag all of them individually as well. And if you loved this episode as much as I did, and you know dang well it's going to help someone and save a life, go like, share, comment, all the things. And until next time.